This is the Real Techniques eye brow set, and it looks like this. It's a really cute purple color. I love the packaging here. So this is how it looks when you buy it. And it comes with a description of the brushes that come with the kit all in the back. And it gives little tips on what you can use it for. So first we have the angle tweezer, detailing tweezer, a slanted brow spoolie, a slanted arch definer, and a slanted brow brush. So right here you can see, you can push this and adjust it, and it holds its shape like this. And you're able to place this right on top of your counter or your vanity just to have it stand up. Now that I have this all set up, I'm going to show you how I do my brows from grooming to filling them in. Here are my bare brows right now. I did let them grow out for a few weeks actually, just so I can show you how I fill my brows. They're very sparse. As you can see, I don't have a lot of brow hair. It's not very thick, but I do like to have a nice shape to them. So this is them grown out. You can see this hair is here, and I have a lot of filling in to do when it comes to my brows. So my first trick for doing my brows is before I go in and start grooming them, plucking them, and cutting them, I like to fill them in first. And I know some people don't do it this way, but I like to do it this way because I can see the shape that I want before I start plucking any hairs, and that way I don't over pluck, which is something that a lot of girls easily do when it's not shaped first. So today I'm using my Anastasia brow pomade first. This is their dip brow pomade, and I'm using this in dark brown. So I'm using the angle brush from the kit, and this is good because it is not only angled in the bristles but angled here for the brush. So it makes it so you can see what you're doing without the brush blocking your view. I'm going to start with the spoolie first and use that to just brush the hairs up and out. Start right under my arch and kind of bring it down to the tail and then work my way forward. I love that it picks up a lot of product. Some angled brushes that I use, I need to keep dipping it over and over because it doesn't pick up product. So I like to start at my arch because this is where I want like the darkest of color, and start filling in that arch at the top, and then slowly going toward the front of the brow and blending as I go. And then to clean it up, I really want to use a concealer. So this is just one by NYX, and I'm using the same angled brush, and this will just clean up the edges and really define what hairs should be plucked or not. So again, I'm going to start right at the arch and see how thin I want my brows to be. And then you can see I'm kind of going over some of the pomade because I put a little too much at the tip. And this is really important for when you want to pluck the pluck the hairs right here. So I want mine to be a little thinner than what they look like now. And then once that bottom line is done, I like it really defined, then I'll go and do the top section starting at the tail. And take a little more product and do the top of the brow, and I like to keep it nice and straight. And this angle brush really makes it easy. I can see what I'm doing. So I want my brow to start right here, and I'm kind of lining this up with my nose here. And then you want this arch to be in the middle of your pupil, going that way. And then the very tail, you want to end right where your corner of your eye is, And that should be your guidelines. 1, 2, and 3. You don't want your tail to go too far. So that looks pretty good. So we used 2 tools so far, which is great. And the only tool that I use to groom my eyebrows that is not in this kit is just this pair of manicure scissors. So they're just tiny and they're great for trimming hair. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna trim the hair. And they're usually long on this end. So I'm going to just brush it down a bit. Some people like to brush up. I brush up for the beginning of my brow and down for the tail of my brow. And this spoolie is really good. And then going at an angle with my scissors, I'm going to cut whatever hairs fall down here. And it doesn't look like there's too much. But a little snip can make a big difference when you're doing your brows, so take your time. Don't rush it. You want to keep as much hair thickness that you already have. And that looks about it. I'm going to take this and brush it up and see if there's any hair. Just little snips. Okay. That's it for the trimming part. And then you can go ahead, now that those hairs are out of the way, you can use your tweezer and start plucking. So I'm going to use the one that came in the kit. And I am just really used to using the angled one. So this is how it looks by Real Techniques. So I always start here just because that's where I see most of the hair that needs to be plucked. So just start plucking. This to me, like plucking my brows, don't hurt at all. I'm so used to it. I actually like the feeling of like my hair being plucked. Is that weird? Do you guys feel the same? I think the ones just at the very edge here are the ones that hurt the most, but it's not too bad. So for the angle brush, I don't like to like pluck like this. I like to keep it very controlled and work on one spot and work my way to the front of my brow. See, it's so much easier for me to know what to pluck because of the defined line that I already made. The angle brush is really getting the precise hair that I want to pluck. So that's great. Especially when it comes to this area here, I don't want to overpluck because that can change the whole shape of your brow. And I like to have a kind of boxy, thicker brow. So you really want to get right in there and get those because that can really make your shape look really crisp. So that's why we have the other tweezer. This is the detailing tweezer. It looks like this, and you can see that the point is just pointy. So be careful with this one. This one is the one that can really pinch you hard. So this one, I'm gonna go in and see if I can get those really hard to get ones that are deep in there. The middle of my brow, there's hairs too, so I like to pluck this as much as I can rather than using a razor. And I do have hair that does grow pretty long in the middle. It's really light and sparse though, so it doesn't make too much of a difference, but on days like this where I really want to clean up my brows, this is the time I dedicate to plucking like this middle part, and I just do it as best as I can. I am going to finish doing this brow, you can see the difference between the two brows. And I also like to make sure that the beginning of the brow matches the other side, because my two brows aren't the exact same shape the way they grow out. So I want to make sure that I make this one match this one. Okay, so I did pluck both eyebrows, so this is the desired shape that I want. See, there's a little bit of redness, but that is the shape. So now I'm going to show you just how I fill them in and make them really nice. So again, I'm going in with my pomade one more time, and this time it's going to be much more defined. And again, I like to start underneath my arch here and go to the tip. This angle brush makes it so easy to do that. And I don't like to put too much product back on my brush and start doing the beginning of my brow. Just like that. I like to just make little upward strokes like this. Barely putting any product on the brush. And there you go. Take my spoolie and kind of blend that out again. This spoolie makes it so easy to brush up and out. And then I'm gonna take that same angled brush and the concealer just to define things more, especially the end here. I like to start in the middle and then go down. You can even turn the brush like this, lay it flat, and use that to kind of conceal like a wider area and blend it out. So that is the brow that's filled in. I do like to go in with a pencil. This is the Levatics by Demi by NYC, and this is just a brown shade. And this just helps like put in or like fill in any sparse hairs, like especially the arch. I like to redefine it sometimes. And I only do this on days where I really wanted like bolder brows, just because it does so much with little strokes like this. And it's usually at the end of my brow. And this one has its own little blender at the end. Also a good tip if you're still learning how, you can use your pinky to rest on your cheek. And this will help guide your hand to do a really nice line like this.